Hey, strangers. Welcome to another episode of The Strange Sessions. I am Krista. With me is Kurt and special guest today in the studio.
Krista loves that Bigfoot toy.
I do. I forgot about it until
we
I showed up.
walked into the room and she was like, "Oh, the Bigfoot toy." She forgot about that. I
immediately had to make it howl. Whoa, that sounded adult.
Did sound a little adult. How are you doing?
I'm good. We originally had canceled today and rescheduled for tomorrow because we were supposed to get anywhere from 4 to 10 inches.
They were saying
snow.
like 3 to 6 inches, but then
here they said 4 to 10 in my area.
And like I said, with my car, people have driven in my car with me during like a little bit of snow, and they're like,
harrowing
"Dude,"
event.
they're like, "What?" You know, like I said, there's something jacked up with my tires or something that, like I said,
maybe.
my car slides on fog, so I don't want to be coming here and 3 inches
of snow. Is your car 4-wheel drive too?
No, no,
it's not.
No.
It seems like it should be.
Yeah, it was even bad today because it's a Kia Soul, so it's basically a box
on wheels,
and it's really windy out. And then part of the
windy.
drive here is like in the middle of the country, so there were times
really
where I'd
hilly.
be going between two fields, and my car would be like blowing all over the road.
That's crazy.
But hey,
it didn't snow. We got nothing.
we didn't. We had a couple flakes on the way here that I was like,
I didn't even
hope
notice
it doesn't-"
that.
Yeah, but I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
Sorry we couldn't get together last time.
But we had a good backup episode.
We had our one backup episode.
Yeah, our one backup episode.
Krista, we were messaging this week, and we're like, we got to get more backup episodes.
Yeah, if anything happens between now and true spring, you're going to be out an episode for a week.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we should just do our holiday break from November till June or something like that. And then we'll just record every day.
I think people would riot.
I think people would riot too. We got shout outs for our newest strangers, and those are Michelle Cosgrave, Lauren Marsh, Courtney Cal, Heather Elizabeth, Megan Bish, Aaron Bailey, Eve Davis, Elizabeth Lowry, David Lamarco, Kelly Spence, Sabrina Renee, Alice Kuntz, Shield Dame, Randy Lojeski, and Luke Springer.
Hey, Aaron Bailey. He's a follower on Instagram, and he comments on a lot of our stuff.
Nice. We only had one person join in the last 2 weeks, I believe.
So all these people were from
before.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So we kind of plateaued.
That's a lot of people, though.
We kind of plateaued. But I don't know if me changing the group name, because you and I were getting hammered with people wanting to join that obviously were like in the middle of Russia or something like that. And
it's weird because we get like 3 people from the same area.
Yeah.
And nobody would answer the questions.
Yeah.
So.
But then we found out that if you try to join and then look and realize that's not what you wanted and back out, it still shows that you want to join.
Yeah, I wish it would delete that.
Yeah, I do
Facebook,
too.
Facebook, can you work on that? We know Facebook's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure
They're
they listen to
always
everything.
listening.
So yeah, we changed the group's name, so hopefully that doesn't cause any
confusion.
Any confusion.
It's not like it's drastically changed. Hey, no. I also wanted to mention, I was looking at our reviews on iTunes, which are actually really good. Most of them are 5 stars, so holy crap, thank you guys.
Yeah, you told me about people's kind of complaint.
The 2 top complaints were they don't like our accents and they can't handle it. Well, too bad.
Yep.
Sorry, this is how I talk.
Yep.
And the other was that, oh my God, they just talked about nothing for the first 20 minutes. So we totally get it. If you don't want to listen to us go through housekeeping, do the taste test, look at your show notes. Kurt has put in there what the time stamp is for when we actually start the topic. I'm not offended if you skip through this stuff.
All I can say to that is TFB. Too bad with something else in the middle, because this is
our format. We love it.
Yeah, and this wasn't like really planned. It just kind of
evolved
grew. It evolved into what it is, and at this point, I think it's a beast of its own, so I don't think we can change it.
No, and our strangers seem to like it.
There's people that have said that they originally didn't like listening to us talk at the beginning, but then once they felt like they knew us better, they kind of liked it. So it was like listening to friends.
Catching up with friends,
So, if you don't like it, sorry. Move along.
Yeah, fast forward
There's
to
much better podcasts than ours out there.
Or just skip this part. I'm okay with that. I do that on other shows I listen to, which I don't listen to a lot of podcasts anymore, but... Housekeeping. I wanted to mention there's a listener on Instagram. I don't think he's a stranger. Siren Thompson. He had left a comment. I think he kind of found us a little late and was catching up, but it said this, and this was from probably a month or so ago, maybe. The show on the empaths had me pacing the floors at 4 a.m. I now know what's wrong with me, LOL. Looking forward to the next show. Drive a taxi at night. Haven't felt alone so much on the roads lately. The Panama Girls was a great show too. Keep them coming.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I commented, we love hearing how we keep people company.
I know.
So
I love that.
that's kind of cool.
Some housekeeping I have. I want to give a shout out to Ellen Kaloran.
Yes.
She is
This is so cool.
Yeah, she's like a true crime writer,
Yeah.
reporter. And she has done a lot of true crime stuff, and she has had articles published in Forbes magazine, Rolling Stone magazine, and others. And I got an email from her one day, and she gave us an awesome shout out because she is doing an online article about the disappearance of a Michigan man named Stephen Kubacki.
Okay.
This actually came up when I was researching for the Lake Michigan Triangle stuff, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole of his disappearance a little bit, but I didn't put it in the episode, I don't believe.
Okay.
It's almost more of a missing 411 situation. He turned up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation about what happened. It's a bizarre story.
Should we do an episode on
Yeah,
that?
I would like to. I would like
Okay.
to. It would be great if Ellen could come here when we actually did that one.
That'd be awesome.
But she found us doing a Google search, and she listened to our Lake Michigan Triangle episode, and she really liked it. So she contacted me and asked me like where I got some of the information from. So I sent her like the show notes and all that. So she's really cool, and she mentioned us. She gave us a super nice shout out. She has an online article, like an online journal, where she puts these, and this is where the story about Stephen Kubacki is. So I will put a link to that in the Strangers Facebook group.
Do you have to sign up to be able to read it though?
There's like an email box to subscribe, but underneath it, there's a thing that says, let me read without subscribing, and then you can read it.
Okay.
And it's really good, but she gives us like a super sweet shout out, which is awesome. So
Well,
thank you so much, Ellen. So yeah, that was kind of,
so cool.
It was funny because I got the email from her, and I'm talking to her. That's the one where was it you that said it was funny, where she wanted to talk to me on the phone?
I'm
and
like,
you
Kurt,
could
just
see
tell
that
her
I
you're
was
not
like
gonna do
totally,
it.
yeah, considering I like talking on the podcast, I hate talking to people on the phone.
I'm reading these emails and I'm like, he needs to just tell her he can't talk on the phone.
I eventually did.
Okay,
I was
good.
like dancing around the subject for a while. But I remember you messaged me laughing about that.
Oh, that was funny.
But she's just really cool. So thank you so much, Ellen. And like I said, I'll put the link to her article in the Strangers Facebook group. And I also want to give a shout out to stranger Brian Young.
Yeah.
Sender of the awesome sponge candy.
And he also makes these funny, like,
Oh
he
my
does
God,
like
yeah.
photoshopping
He
or
does.
something, like
I don't know
puts
what he
my
does.
face on the Mona
Mona
Lisa.
Lisa.
It's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yep. That he has a podcast of his own now called Transatlantic History Ramblings with Lauren and Brian. And I listened to the first episode last night, and it's really good.
Okay.
She is in England, and he's here, and they're doing
So they
it.
Skype it?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
and how's the sound quality?
Good.
Ooh, we have to figure this out.
I know. It kind of made me like, maybe my...
Things that make you go,
Yeah, maybe my hatred of Skype podcast stuff is...
I think Skype is way too much like talking on the phone for you.
I don't know.
I'll be here to help you through it.
It was funny
Kurt.
because my friend Aaron tried... I was just laying on the couch watching TV, and he was trying to FaceTime me, and I just kept
like,
shutting it.
"No,
I
no."
kept shutting it down. And he's like, "You're so stubborn."
That's
and I'm
so
like, "I
funny.
don't talk on the phone, and I sure as hell don't FaceTime with somebody."
That's really funny.
So yeah. So I was also going to bring up the reviews thing, but you already brought that up.
I wanted to say what's up to Tobias Whalen. It was
yes.
amazing
Yeah.
seeing you. I think he's probably way more well known than we think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's like this guy who has a cool website and writes some books and knows a lot about the paranormal and happens to be a stranger. But
Yeah.
he was on an episode of Expedition X, which is Josh Gates' new show.
Yeah.
And I was like freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, this guy is a stranger on it. My husband was kind of impressed. So
Yeah.
that was I had to text Kurt right away, but that was so cool to see him on TV.
Yeah, he did a really good job too.
Yeah.
I watched that episode, but then I got rid of my cable TV this week, so I don't know where I'm going to watch that.
I think you can probably do it on the website. Usually, like Discover. It's Travel Channel, I think.
Yeah.
Usually you can watch full episodes on their websites.
Yeah. I didn't watch enough stuff to warrant it.
Justify the cost.
No, and I said I'd put on something and then I would lay on my couch and play on my phone and I wouldn't even watch it.
Right.
So it's like, get rid of it.
It's
the only things that I
pointless.
seriously watched were The Walking Dead, which was getting dumb anyway, and I only watched it now because I love Negan.
So crazy.
And Destination Truth.
Yeah.
Or, Expedition Unknown.
Oh, I miss
I
Destination
do too.
Truth, though.
And Doctor Who. Those were the only things that I
okay.
really watched, so I'll just have to figure out something else. And I don't even know where I was going with that anymore. I'm just rambling.
Random
But no, because
ramblings
before
with Kurt.
we started talking about before we started the podcast, Krista brought up the coronavirus thing, and I was literally just reading something this morning, and I'm guessing, like, I'm surprised how much news is clickbait, that they sensationalize what they're talking about in order to get you to read the article. And I don't remember it being that bad in the past, but it feels like it's bad now. But the article was basically called something like, "You're going to catch the coronavirus, so get prepared." They're
And
saying
then you click on it, and it's like, don't go to China.
yeah, but they're saying that there's a very good chance that you and I are both going to catch it at some point. That it's making its way around.
That's so scary.
It is.
What's really even scarier, though, is if that's true, nobody's telling us.
Well, no, they're not.
I haven't
gonna
heard
tell
this
us.
in the news. Well, they like to scare the bejesus out of us with everything else in the news. Why aren't they actually warning us about something we should be worried about instead of,
I feel like they kind of are.
I haven't heard it. I've heard it mentioned what the death toll is, but not that we need to be worried. I've
Yeah.
never really heard anybody say we need to be worried unless you've been in contact with someone who's traveled.
But I see a lot of news stories saying that it's gonna hit you at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I don't watch the news. Okay, I'll be honest. I watch the weather, and as soon as they get into all the horrible things people are doing to each other, I change a channel to like HGTV, because the worst thing that happens on there is like, oh, they picked the tile I don't like.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is about as much drama as I can handle.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just tuning out, and I've got my eyes closed to what's
I don't know.
going on.
It is scary stuff. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I just always think of Stephen King's The Stand, because that's kind of how the world ends, is this super flu virus that goes around and kills everybody.
Well, I feel like there's so many movies about stuff like that where
Yeah.
not, zombie movies are a good example, but how society ends up like everybody is just,
But
it's every man for
It
himself at
sounds
some
like
point.
the virus is so weird that not everybody gets the same symptoms. You're
Right.
not necessarily going to die.
It depends on your immune system probably, and
Yeah.
how compromised you are to begin with.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So who knows? Could be one of our last episodes.
And I never get the flu shot.
I thought
But I
about
think this is different than the flu.
This is dark.
It's flu-like
but-
symptoms.
Yeah, this is dark, but I thought about it on the way here, and I don't remember how it came up. What if one of us died?
Yeah,
I
that'd-
wouldn't.
Well,
I would,
that'd be horrible.
yeah, that would be horrible.
I would
but
not. The podcast would
No,
have to end.
no,
I couldn't
like,
do
I
it
would
without
not
you.
do this without you.
Yeah.
So let's not die.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a pact. Kurt and I
If
are
the
not
pandemic
dying.
comes up here, we'll seal ourselves in our room here.
Yep.
Get Jim. Bring
Yeah.
Jim.
I gotta bring Jim and Lucy. I'm sorry, Lucy's got to come too. That's
yeah,
my dog.
I'll have to bring Narnia. It'll
Yep.
be cramped.
Oh,
but-
it'll be great.
So I think that's it for housekeeping.
Okay.
I know there's something I'm forgetting,
Of
but
course, there always
it'll
is.
come up at some other point.
Yep.
Our taste test today is tied in with the episode.
Okay.
So this whole episode came about because a couple weeks ago we got an email from stranger Brad Medeiros,
Mm-hmm.
who
Is he the one who has Bob from Bob's Burger as like his
think so.
profile
I
picture?
think so.
I love Bob's
But
Burgers.
he emailed us and said, he loves the podcast and he wanted to pitch Alabama as the next Strange States
Okay.
episode we did. And he put together a PDF of possible locations we could
my
talk
God.
about.
That's
so it's like,
awesome.
if he went through that trouble, it's the least
We
we
have
could
to do
is a Strange States episode for him. So this one is all for Brad. This is a Strange States, Alabama. And he sent us a package and said that he's given us a break from the nasty stuff that we always eat. And I actually think it's kind of a cool idea for when we do a Strange States episode to do something specific for that
Yeah.
state. And one of these I actually bought because I have one gas station in town where I can buy it.
Okay.
And I buy it all the time because I love it. But he sent us an Alabama, the official Alabama treat, which is moon pies.
Moon pies. Ooh.
So we have
Exciting.
moon pies and we have RC Cola.
Oh, RC Cola. You know how long it's been since I've had an RC Cola?
I seriously have one of these every couple weeks.
Really?
I love RC Cola.
Oh, I haven't had a moon pie since I was a kid.
And what's funny about that
This is exciting.
I haven't had moon pies, like you just said, I haven't had moon pies since I was a kid. But I have gotten to be very good friends with stranger Carly from Australia.
Morgendorfer?
Who sent us the Vegemite.
Yes.
And she just recently was on like a whirlwind tour of the States. I believe her and her boyfriend flew into Las Vegas, and they were in Las Vegas, saw Lady Gaga and all that stuff. And
did they go to Zach's thing, or was that somebody else
that
who was
somebody
talking
else.
about? Okay.
But they were there. She went to Memphis, Graceland, went to New York. So she was all over the place.
Hit all the tourist hotspots.
And when she was down south, she fell in love with moon pies. And then her and I had been talking about it. So at the dollar store in Two Rivers, they have
Trivers if you're
local. They have moon pies, but they're the mini moon pies. They're not the full size. I could not find the full size moon pies anywhere.
And this says single decker, which implies that there's
a
probably a double decker out there somewhere.
But I don't like marshmallow stuff. I hate marshmallow stuff, so I wasn't going to try this. But Carly liked them so much that I wanted to.
It seems like it's the least amount of the, you know what I mean?
The stuff, the white stuff.
There's more chocolate and whatever this other stuff is.
So
I love marshmallow stuff, save Peeps. I don't like Peeps.
RC Cola. I love. I don't know.
Keep shaking it up. he's like
shaking
waving
it in my
around
hand.
in the air.
There's one gas station in town that I know sells this, so I go there quite a bit.
Is it hard to find?
It is. Like up here, RC Cola is hard to find.
What does RC stand for? I see.
Royal Crown.
Royal Crown. Okay.
The whole story behind RC Cola is actually really interesting. Maybe we'll save that for a backup episode someday.
Wow. Okay. A mini mystery.
I don't know what it is, but I love RC Cola. It's one of my favorite sodas. It doesn't overtake number one, which is Coca-Cola from McDonald's, because for some reason that is the
watered down Coca-Cola. It's got to be.
No, there's something with the McDonald's Coca-Cola.
Really?
Oh my God! Yeah, look at
they put heroin in
it. People think that they put something in there because the Coke from McDonald's is so good.
They put something
and there's
in
a lot
all
of
their
stuff that it like comes in a special container because they go through so much of it that I think it's like in a stainless steel container as opposed to like a plastic container. But everybody knows, except for apparently Krista, that McDonald's Coke is like the best soda in the world.
Okay.
And RC Cola is right up there. Krista doesn't like carbonated things.
I don't drink soda.
So she'll have a little bit of it.
Yeah, I'll wash down my moon pie.
Oh, I'm going to go to town on that box of moon pies.
So Jeff Verhelst and his wife Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Kate. Yeah. Don't say hi to Jeff.
I've never met her.
Oh,
hi,
she's
Jeff.
so sweet. She's so sweet. But they have two adorable kids, and their daughter Quinn is a Girl Scout, and every year I order Girl Scout cookies from Quinn. So Jeff dropped them off yesterday, so I will have to forego the Girl Scout cookies today because you're going to
have a moon pie.
Yes.
I like Girl Scout cookies, but
oh my gosh, I love them.
Never in my life has there been leftover cookies after I started eating them. I mean,
Jim will eat a whole sleeve in one sitting.
I'll eat the whole box in one sitting.
I'm going to open these. Oh my gosh, these are so cute because they're like, of course they're individually wrapped, but the wrapper has like a little half moon, like a crescent moon. It's so retro. Since 1917, this treat has been around since over 100 years.
Yep.
That's crazy. I never would have known that. I'm not sure I've actually ever had a moon pie. I'm going to be honest.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. We didn't keep stuff like this in our house growing up. And I don't know. I'm excited to try.
Before we forget, we want to do two more shout outs.
Yeah.
And those are number one, to...
I should fill all the awkward pauses with Bigfoot noises.
To Josh Carpenter, who posted in The Strangers, how is it the taste test wasn't named Strange Concessions?
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Awesome.
I think we should start calling it that now.
I think we're going to have to officially rename it Strange Concessions.
Yep.
And also want to give a shout out to Heather Chambers.
Yes.
Stranger Heather Chambers.
So cool.
Who put together a list of what we ate so far on the...
Yeah, so every episode, what we tasted and what our ranking was.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. So thank you so much, Heather, for doing that.
So now if you just want to know like a topic list...
Yeah, it's in the Strangers. It's in the Strangers Facebook group. She has it in a document. So once she started doing that, I was like, wow. And then she finished it. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's kind of amazing. So thank
somebody
you
would
so
take
much.
the time to do that is so
thank
cool.
you so much, Heather.
Because clearly we're not taking the time.
No, we're not. We got to get more on the ball with this stuff.
I know. Oh, you want me to pour some RC? Oh, that's my squeaky microphone boom.
I think that was a bingo thing. Wasn't that a bingo?
This doesn't explode.
After I was shaking it around. All right, maybe I shook it. I probably shook it a lot. Oh, I started my mouth.
I can't even open a bottle of soda without struggling.
My mouth started watering because I love.
Start with the moon pie.
Start with the moon pie.
Okay.
I love at the dollar store they have mini banana moon pies, and I love the banana moon pies.
See, I wouldn't like that. I don't like banana flavored stuff.
It smells good.
Okay, I have to take a. It does. I smell the chocolate. Totally.
I feel bad because Carly wishes she could get these in Australia where she is, but she can't
order them online.
I think she can order them online. She sent me that she found a place that she could order them. I know. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like a soft s'more. You know what I mean?
It kind of is.
I'm going to take a picture of...
Sorry, Carly. I wish I could share this with you.
That's really good.
I don't know why I'm so weird about marshmallow fluffy filling. I just don't like it.
Have you ever had a fluffernutter? It's a peanut butter.
That sounds like something you got to pay extra for.
It's the most basic form is white bread with peanut butter and marshmallow fluff. It's so delicious. It's so horribly bad for you, but it's so delicious.
How many calories are in one of these?
220.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
There's a lot. But it's good.
Worth every calorie.
It is really good.
Between this and the soda, we're going to have like a serious sugar crash in like an hour.
I'm used to eating the mini moon pies. This was like a jumbo deluxe
It was
moon
like
pie.
a meal. Wow. All right. You ready to wash it down with some RC? Wait, let's rate it first.
What are you going to give it? What are you laughing at?
Kurt's mouth is full, so he can't rate anything right now. You know what? I'm going to give it a 10 because as far as like packaged, processed, retro, chocolatey marshmallow sandwich treats go, that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 10 too. I wasn't going to, but I just saw
There's something really
super
nostalgic
filling.
about this.
Yeah, it's super filling. And I see on there something that I like right on the front of the box. It says made with real sugar. It's not made with
aspartame or
whatever.
And I love this retro.
You like that? You really like that wrapper, don't you?
Yeah, the half moon pie. Like this
there's
is
t-shirts.
so retro.
You can get t-shirts with that on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something really nostalgic about it and comforting. Something chocolatey and chewy and yummy. So yeah, I'm giving it a 10 for the whole package.
I am too.
The whole package.
So thank you so much, Brad.
Yeah, thank you, Brad.
And I hope this does Alabama justice, this episode.
Wait, let's drink our RC cola. I don't know if we have to rate this, but we will. Tastes like cola.
I'm going to give it a 10. I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect cola. But I'm an RC fan.
Yeah, I don't know. If I do, on the rare occasion that I order soda, it's root beer. But I'm a unsweetened iced tea kind of person.
You are.
So
I think if somebody put a cup of RC, Pepsi, and Coke in front of me, I think I could tell them apart. I really do. I used to love Pepsi, and then all of a sudden,
I can tell Pepsi. This tastes like Pepsi to me more than Coke. Like
really?
I think Coke has a very distinct flavor.
It does.
This is closer to Pepsi. I remember my best friend's family was a Pepsi family, and my family was a Diet Coke family.
Ooh.
So it was kind of funny.
Were there like rumbles, like West Side Story?
I'm glad they allowed me to hang out with her. I mean,
I love RC.
But they taste very different. Coke and Pepsi taste completely different.
They do. Totally 10 for me because I love RC Cola. Maybe I'm gonna
give it an 8 just because you love it so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm just not a soda person.
No, I know.
Thank you, Brad, for sending that.
Yes, thank you, Brad.
It's amazing.
Ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to jump in. Okay. This is Strange States, Alabama. As always, starting with some Alabama facts.
Okay.
Number one fact. What do you think about when you hear Alabama? And this maybe this is just me, but
I have a really obscure thing that I think of, but I'll let you go first.
The thing I always think of first is Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh,
the
sure.
song Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner,
and it's weird
right?
because with states that I've never been to, I have like I don't want to say I have an image in my head of what I feel when I hear that state. Mm-hmm. And when I hear Alabama, to me, that's like a positive thing because I don't know. I just like Alabama.
I think
Alabama,
southern
to me,
states feel southern
like
hospitality,
homey.
like warm and nice people. And
Alabama
good food.
just brings up a good feeling when I hear it. And I don't think I've ever been there. But whenever I hear it,
you don't think you've ever
maybe
been
when
to
I was
Alabama.
a kid. I don't know, one of my drunk weekends when I wake up in Alabama. So
what I think of is Jim and I watched this like foreign movie once. It was like the most depressing movie we'd ever seen. And it was all in like French, I think. So we had to watch subtitles through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And the main character, that was a couple, a man and woman, and how their relationship was just like really struggling. And there was some music thrown in there too. But she got pregnant with, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but all we remember from that movie is that they spoke in these really beautiful, it was all French, which is a beautiful language. Yeah. And they decided to name the baby Alabama. And every time they said the name, it was like this beautiful French and then Alabama. It was like it was dubbed in or something. Wow. It wasn't, but it's how it sounded. Yeah. So literally every time I hear Alabama, I think of that movie. Yeah.
I think of that song Sweet Home Alabama.
Which is a great song, by the way.
Yes, it is. So Alabama fact.
That is Lynyrd Skynyrd,
yes,
right?
Yes, Alabama fact number 1, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'm not a huge Lynyrd Skynyrd fan, but this is an amazing song. It's one of those songs where the beginning of the song is like instantly recognizable.
Yeah,
when
that
you hear
guitar.
that first note. Mm-hmm. Yep. This well-known song was released in 1974, and the song, a lot of people know this, but I actually talked to a lot of people that didn't know this. The song was basically written as an angry response to Neil Young. Neil Young's songs Alabama and Southern Man were scathing songs that took Alabama and the South to task for its history of slavery, kind of rightfully so.
Sure.
But it's one of those things that it's like saying Germany sucks because of Nazis.
Right.
You know what I'm,
Yeah.
It's like generalizing something.
Right.
The members of Lynyrd Skynyrd understood where the sentiment was coming from, but band member Ronnie Van Zant said, quote, "We thought Neil was shooting all the ducks in order to kill one or two," which is true,
That's
which is exactly true. So the band wrote Sweet Home Alabama as a direct response to Neil Young, which is totally heard in the lyrics, quote, "Well, I heard Mr. Young sing about her. Well, I heard old Neil put her down. Well, I hope Neil Young will remember a Southern man don't need him around anyhow." I always, when I was growing up, I never knew what that was referring to.
No,
but then
I
at some
didn't either.
point I heard that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think it's a more popular song than either of those Neil Young songs. Although I love Southern Man, that's a really good song.
Like if this happened these days, there would be lawsuits and probably diss tracks dropping,
Twitter battles.
Yeah, the Twitter battles. But after the song was released, Neil Young went on record as saying that he was a huge fan of the song, and he would even perform the song in concert, saying in 1976, quote, "I'm proud to have my name in a song like theirs."
That's cool.
After that, Van Zant would often be seen wearing a Neil Young t-shirt during their concerts, which is totally cool.
That's kind of beef that I like.
Yep, but I love the fact that that song was written, as like a response to Neil Young.
Very cool.
And in 2014, the state of Alabama paid Universal Records $75,000 for 5-year rights for the phrase "Sweet Home Alabama."
Universal Studios?
Universal Records.
Universal Records.
Yeah.
The state paid
Yes.
Universal.
In order to use the phrase "Sweet Home Alabama," because otherwise they couldn't.
probably use it in advertising for travel and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if they can use the song, but I think they just got the rights to the phrase.
To the phrase. Okay.
Alabama fact number 2. Although New Orleans, people say I say New Orleans funny. New Orleans?
See, when you ask a question like that, I don't know how I pronounce
it.
I have to, I have to just organically say it.
I always say New Orleans, and I don't know if that's right or not.
I say New Orleans.
Okay. Although
I don't think that's wrong.
I don't know. It's like Missouri. Although New Orleans, no, I can't even say it.
Say Nolans.
Although I'm not going to say that. Although hell with it. Although New Orleans is the modern day hub of Mardi Gras festivities, yesterday was Fat Tuesday.
Yes.
The first Mardi Gras celebration in the U.S. actually took place in Mobile, Alabama, in 1703. I never knew that.
Really?
I always thought it was strictly
1703.
Yeah, I always thought it was strictly New Orleans.
Yeah, I had no idea. Huh. I'd be pissed if I were Alabama.
Yeah. Mobile, Alabama still has a sizable Mardi Gras carnival with parades and parties. And as a local twist on the religious tradition, people on the floats throw moon pies into the crowd, which is cool.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
I hope they're wrapped.
I'm sure they're wrapped. Mobile also rings in the new year by lighting a 12-foot tall, 600-pound mechanical moon pie.
Wow.
So they really
that's unique.
Yeah, they really like their moon pies. I think that's so cool.
It is
moon
cool.
pies are so tied in with that.
Yeah. It's their claim to fame.
Alabama fun fact number 3. In the town of Oak Grove on November 30th, 1954, Ann Hodges was laying on her couch napping when a meteorite came through the ceiling, smashed into her radio sitting on a shelf, bounced off, and hit her in the thigh, leaving a bruise. Ann survived and is the only confirmed person in history to have been hit by a meteorite.
Wow.
That's kind of cool. Could you imagine just laying on your couch napping and a meteorite piece comes flying through your ceiling?
I can't, actually.
Yeah. So she is the only confirmed person to have been hit by a meteorite.
I'd just like to point out that it's snowing right now.
Oh, boy.
It's very light. Very light snow.
Looks like I'll be spending.
Kurt's
spending the night sleeping. I should have brought that blanket.
I bet you could find a blanket in here somewhere.
I'm sure there's something in one of the other rooms.
Yeah. We're kidding. Kurt's not sleeping here. I'll drive him home before I let him sleep here.
This place is scary. Alabama fun fact number 4. The world's smallest museum is located in Tuscaloosa. To help students learn about classic authors like Edgar Allan Poe, Tommy Flowers of University Place Middle School in Tuscaloosa created the world's smallest museum dedicated to Poe and his works, and it is stationed in the classroom closet. The museum has been recognized as the world's smallest museum by the World's Record Association.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. And fun fact number 5. In May of 1892, the New York Sun reported a strange event following a storm in the tiny community of Colberg, Alabama. It was raining eels. And not just any eels, but a type of eel unknown in Alabama. The eel storm may have resulted from a waterspout lifting and jettisoning the fishes, the article said, but to this day, no one knows where the eels began their journey and how they ended up in Alabama.
It's like Sharknado.
It is it's like Eelnado.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just started pouring eels.
Wow, that's terrifying.
Could you imagine being out in that?
No. Eels are gross.
So there are some fun Alabama facts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And as always, we're going to talk about some cryptids / creatures from the Alabama area. One that we're not going to talk about that I actually started looking into was the Chocoloco monster.
That sounds fun.
A strange creature that was seen around Chocoloco, Alabama since the late 1960s, but was later revealed to be local resident Neil Williamson, who went out into roadways dressed in a cow skull and sheet to frighten drivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
A cow skull.
A cow skull.
He just had a cow skull laying around.
And he wore that in a sheet and frightened drivers.
That would be frightening.
That was the Chocoloco.
I mean, if I saw that, wow.
That was the Chocoloco monster.
Okay. Reminds me of Choco Taco.
Choco Tacos are so good.
Another classic.
Yes, I love Choco Tacos. Oh, my God. The Falkville Metal Man. On October 17th, 1973, Falkville, Alabama Police Chief, 26-year-old Jeff Greenhaw, got a phone call shortly before 10 o'clock p.m. The woman on the other end sounded extremely frightened, and she told Greenhaw that she saw what looked like a UFO land on a field just outside of town. Greenhaw grabbed his stuff to head out and also took his Polaroid camera just in case. He drove to the field and got out of his car to look around. He didn't see any UFO, but after looking around the area for a bit, he saw what looked like someone walking around on a nearby secluded road. He called out to the figure, but the person didn't respond. He walked closer and was amazed at what he saw. The figure looked to be about the size of a human, but it seemed to be completely wrapped in what looked like aluminum foil. There's pictures of it. One of the pictures will be in the teaser thing here.
So, like, he took a photo of it?
Yes. Yeah, he took a couple photos of it.
Oh, I can't wait to see this.
It looks like somebody...
wrapped in
I
tinfoil.
can show you right now, actually.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
It's going to be our teaser.
Because I have a picture in my mind.
It's probably going to look exactly like what you have in your mind. But it's going to be in our teaser picture.
Oh, come on.
Krista's a little skeptical,
I think.
That's
what I was picturing, but not so like retro
so
robot.
Hokey. It looks like somebody from
a robot.
It looks like somebody from a 1968 episode of Doctor Who, like
totally.
an alien. It's just, yeah. The figure looked to be about the size of a human, but it seemed to be completely
I love
wrapped.
that it stopped and posed.
I know. I know. Completely wrapped in what looked like aluminum foil. According to the Cryptopia website, Greenhaw told reporters that, quote, it looked like his head and neck were kind of made together. He was real bright, something like rubbing mercury on nickel, but just as smooth as glass. Different angles gave different lighting. When I saw him standing in the middle of the road, I immediately stopped the car and asked if he was a foreigner, but no sound came out of his mouth.
So people are calling this a cryptid?
Yeah. Yeah, or a UFO, alien.
Okay.
An alien, this is always just creatures, weird creatures or cryptids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he said...
I think it's a man in a homemade alien
He stopped, asked the
suit.
car and asked if he was a foreigner, but no sound came out of his mouth.
Are you a foreigner?
I don't get it.
He must be from California.
Yeah, I don't get it. Walking closer to the creature, Greenhaw later said that it seemed to be moving in a strange childlike way, and its movements were strangely jerky and almost simian.
Well, you try walking in a
aluminum
tinfoil suit.
He ran back to his truck and grabbed his camera, taking 4 photos of the creature. He turned the truck's engine on and turned the lights on to get a better photo when the creature bolted and ran off, running quicker than anything Greenhaw had ever seen.
Well, that's a contradiction to how it walked.
I know. Greenhaw said, quote, it ran in a bizarre way, seemed to have springs in the feet for propulsion. It could cover about 3 meters in every way. He was running faster than any human I ever saw.
This is such a classic, 1960s.
I know, but I think the guy's a police chief, so it's
odd.
like, you know.
Yeah, but we shouldn't automatically give, more
I know.
credit to those
I
people.
know.
Because
it's the authority fallacy or whatever that's called.
totally. You immediately want to believe him then, but...
Greenhaw
really
tried
gullible.
to follow the creature in his truck, but even at 35 miles an hour, the creature was outrunning him through the field. Greenhaw soon hit a bump in the field and went into a ditch, and whatever the creature was, it was never seen again. According to the Cryptid Wiki site, Cryptid Wikis are really, really good.
Is it?
Yeah, I ended up going there a lot for
research.
For research.
Okay.
According to the Cryptid Wiki site, Greenhaw was interviewed by the news about the incident and was kind of the talk of the town for a while, but then he went on to greatly regret that it ever happened. A few months after the incident, the town council fired him as the police chief, his marriage fell apart, and his home was burned to the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. Groups that have studied the photos mostly either call it a hoax or call it unverified, but the strange metal man has become part of that area's lore.
That's fun, though.
It is
I like
fun,
when you
but-
can take something like that and turn it into... There's probably little figures you can buy at some gift shop somewhere. You know?
So I don't know. Once I saw the pictures, I was like,
It's hoax. I'm calling it a hoax. Unverified.
So do you think that it was like just somebody...
And it's,
the dude with the cow skull,
Totally,
just
like
somebody
Choco
parading,
Taco.
somebody like Choco Taco walking.
Taco,
There's a
dude.
Choco Taco walking around trying to scare.
Totally.
But
Somebody
this guy
said they
said he
saw
could
a
run
craft,
faster
though?
than any. Yeah, a lady called in and said that she saw what she thought was a UFO. So I don't know, because there's some strange stuff about this. I mean, I kind of agree that I think it's
That photo just...
doesn't do it for you.
No, that's clearly a dude, in a poorly made costume. It reminds me, is it Bender?
Is
Is that what Bender looks like? The
kind of.
shape, the shape of his head, and
Yeah. I mean, it looks like you said, a dude in a
it does.
wearing aluminum foil.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Who stopped and posed perfectly for the
But there's
photo.
weird stuff too. Like this guy said it ran faster than you can't run in a aluminum foil. We'll try it. If we had a video podcast, we would put Krista in an aluminum foil
my
suit and have her
God.
run through the school hallway.
That'd be great.
So I don't know. I'm gonna say
I'm going with hoax.
I'm not buying it, but
Yeah.
there's some weird stuff there.
He could have just made that up.
Yeah, exactly.
The running part.
Exactly.
To kind of save
But
face.
then he regretted.
I can't believe I fell for a guy in a foil suit. I better make this sound good.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're
Okay.
gonna both go hoax on that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Cryptid/creature number 2 from Alabama, the Wolf Woman of Mobile. I'll show you a picture of this too.
Oh, good. Is this like a drawing?
Yes.
Okay. Because if somebody got a photo of this,
Disturbingly hot.
her hair is
I
beautiful.
mean, that looks like you. That looks like a Krista Wolf person.
Oh my god. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that is the Wolf Woman of Mobile.
Okay.
In early 1971, the residents of Mobile, Alabama, and its
I'm sensing a theme here. The 70s were wrought with really weird
Yeah.
sightings in Alabama.
In early 1971, the residents of Mobile, Alabama, and its surrounding communities had dozens of sightings of a creature that came to be known as the Wolf Woman. Now I'm always self-conscious because my other friend Carly that I used to work with loves the way I say wolf. I would say wolf, like WOOF.
That's adorable.
The Wolf Woman of Mobile. In the first few days of April, people started seeing the creature roaming the streets at night. One witness described the creature as, quote, a woman and wolf, pretty and hairy. By all accounts, the creature had the bottom half of a large wolf and the top half of a really pretty female and would run quickly on all fours. After the initial report was made, within a week, over 50 calls and reports were made from people who witnessed the same creature. Some citizens saw it creeping around in their backyards, and other citizens were chased by it when it bolted out of the woods near them. How'd you like to be walking on the street and see that?
I just wouldn't.
The police were stunned at how many people seemed to be encountering the creature. Although nobody was hurt by the creature, reports kept pouring in. Then 10 days after the first sighting, everything stopped and the creature wasn't seen again. To this day, people don't know if it was a hoax or a legitimate creature. The timing of its first appearance, which happened in the first days of April, coincided with
April Fool's Day.
But a lot of people saw this thing, so nobody really knows. Is it one of those things where they put this out as an April Fool's joke, and then people seeing something in the dark automatically assume they were seeing this strangely hot wolf woman?
You know what comes to mind is that animals are like dogs are notoriously known for getting their heads stuck in things.
Yeah.
So what if
it's stuck in a woman's
like
mask?
a mask or something, or
it's possible.
I don't know. Like what are the odds of I don't know. Some people believe werewolves are a thing. Yeah. Wow. Is she holding one paw up like
I think she's like brushing through her hair,
her
like
long,
being
luxurious
coquettish.
Hair.
I think she's being coquettish.
I don't know. It's compelling that so many people saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, was it during the daylight or was it only at night?
Everything I read pretty much said at night.
Because it seems like you could easily
misidentify
a large,
something. And if you're already thinking, God, all these other people are seeing this weird wolf woman.
And it could have been an animal with something stuck on its head.
Yeah, it could have been.
And kind of in profile looked like a beautiful lady with long flowing hair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the wolf woman of Mobile.
I lean towards believing in cryptids because, hello. But I don't know.
Oh, that went on for a while.
That was, sorry. So I said he was a guest in the studio today.
I don't know. I don't know if I think this is just people.
That drawing is just kind of ridiculous.
The drawing is awesome. I really like that drawing. So now we get to creature/cryptid number 3, and that is the downy booger.
The downy booger?
The downy booger.
Ooh. Sounds like something, from The Curse of Oak Island.
Yeah,
that sounds like something that the guy who does the metal detecting would find and be like, "Oh, it's a real downy booger."
Yeah, metal detecting expert. He always says that's a real Bobby Dazzler.
Bobby Dazzler.
Yeah, that's a real downy booger. On a Saturday night in Winston County, Alabama, during the late 1800s, cousins. Sound like I'm drunk.
I think we're out of practice or something.
It has been a while. Cousins Joe and John Downey were riding their horses home from a community dance. Ooh. As they reached a bend in the dark road, a creature that looked like a cross between a human and a beast jumped out onto the road in front of them. Their horses reared up and almost threw the cousins off. They turned around and quickly bolted away from the creature. They eventually got their horses back under control, and they turned around and went back to the bend in the road, but the horses would not go any farther than that, no matter what they did. They ended up having to turn around and take a much longer way home. Their parents didn't believe why they got home so late. So right there, is it... They stayed out longer than they wanted to, and they came up with a story.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm poo-pooing on everything today.
Yeah, you are.
Horses are notoriously spooked. Yeah. They spook so easily. Like a piece of paper moves on the side of the road, and they are absolutely terrified. Yeah. And they will not go near that thing ever again. I mean, unless you have a really well-trained horse. Yep. But I've had coworkers who have horses, and they've said they just spook so easily. Yeah. For how huge they are, they're like huge chickens.
They are. Then, one night about 3 months later, a family was returning home from church service. They were traveling along the same road when all of a sudden a Bigfoot-like creature darted out at them from behind a clump of bushes. It stood for a few seconds and then turned around and ran from sight. So now it's somebody else.
So does that make it sound like it stood on 2 legs?
Yes.
And then turned around and ran away on 4 legs?
No, I think it ran away on 2.
Oh,
I think it's like a
okay.
Bigfoot kind of creature.
When is this? What was the year?
1800s.
Oh, 1800s.
Then, that fall, a man named Jim Jackson was driving his wagon full of moonshine along the road late one night. Little moonshine, little shine.
Not to be confused with moon pies.
No, moon pies and moonshine. He started to get a weird feeling that he was being watched. He looked behind him on the road and saw a giant man-like creature walking on 2 feet behind the wagon. He picked up his gun from the seat next to him, turned around, and fired at the creature. He later said that the creature made a screaming sound like a woman in distress, bent over onto all fours, and quickly limped away. The next morning, a posse was formed. They searched the surrounding forest, finding traces of blood that led from the road to the edge of a distant cliff, but no trace of the creature was ever found.
Poor Bigfoot.
I know, poor. I don't think it's a Downy booger. It's not.
So they named it after the 2 guys who saw it because their last name was Downey.
Yeah, the Downy booger.
Aren't they lucky?
Yeah. Yep.
Why did they call it a booger, though?
So a lot of people saw this thing. I mean, there's at least 3 different encounters of seeing this thing.
Well, you know me. I like Bigfoot.
I know, but then you poo-poo the wolf woman. I knew she was reaching for that. You poo-poo the wolf woman and the Reynolds wrap foil guy.
I just feel like Bigfoot. I mean, you don't hear about sightings going back this far. Most of the sightings are more like modern history.
Yeah, this
so
was
it's
the late
interesting.
1800s.
And Bigfoot is something that has been seen by thousands of people.
Yeah.
Not like, one guy.
Yeah. Yep.
So yes, I put a little more weight into the seemingly Bigfoot encounter.
Okay.
Did they describe what it looked like? I know they
No,
said
they just said a creature. It's like
human.
like a cross between a human and a creature.
Like, I want to know how tall it is. I want to know what kind of, did it have fur on it?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
terrible eyewitnesses.
I would say. Now, creature/cryptid number 4, and that is the Wampus cat.
Wampus cat.
Wampus cat.
I already like it.
According to the Mysterious Universe.
Ooh, I love those guys.
I know, I do too. Mysterious Universe website, quote, "The first legend comes from an American Indian tradition. A Cherokee woman, suspicious of her husband's hunting trips, dressed in the skin of a mountain lion and followed the hunting party into the woods. She came upon the hunters sitting around a fire listening to stories about magic. She hid, staying to hear these stories that were forbidden to women. The men discovered her and cursed her to spend eternity wearing the lion's coat as a half woman, half mountain lion."
I'm now picturing a mountain lion with a woman's head with long flowing
The
hair.
second legend says that during World War II, the United States military was experimenting with crossbreeding mountain lions with gray Alabama wolves in an attempt to create a species of intelligent, speedy, brutal killers to use as messengers in a war zone.
Okay.
A few males and females of this new species escaped the compound and began to breed in the wild, their offspring becoming known as Wampus cats. Sightings of these creatures are still reported today.
So this is a real thing.
It's cryptid, technically.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
this is like known that they did this.
No.
Oh.
No, these are theories about what caused this
theories.
creature that people see.
Okay.
In 2014, Trussville...
So the whole crossbreeding thing is just someone's theory.
A story. It's like
Okay,
a legend.
okay.
In 2014, Trussville, Alabama residents began to discover their pet cats and small dogs being slaughtered. Many of the pet owners reported catching glimpses of what looked like an unusually large feline-looking creature that could leap tall fences.
Did it have a woman's head?
I don't know. Maybe it's the same
Huh, that's interesting.
wolf woman. Give me a call.
I just feel like wild cats are a thing, though. Like, we
Oh,
have them in
totally.
Wisconsin.
Totally. But a lot of people have reportedly seen this thing over decades. A website called theparanormalpastor.com had a article about this, and one of the commenters said, quote, "I live in Mobile, and we had a creature in my neighborhood for about a year that frequently came into my yard. It was big enough to pick and carry off grapefruit, generally coming around shortly after dark. It frequently walked around on my roof and then would settle down above my bed."
Ugh.
That's creepy. I tried baiting it. It liked fruit, but it did not like bread. But it was very canny about humans.
What does that mean?
That it was very wary of humans, and it was like
okay.
really smart to
Okay.
stay away from humans.
Gotcha.
I could hear it under my window, but it would stay tight up against the house. When I stepped away and then stepped back, all the fruit on the tree was gone. Possums and raccoons would sit and eat. This thing would snatch and run. It liked a thick tree behind my shed, and it would bring its, quote, treasures. 3 old balls of frayed rope and a small old stuffed toy to leave for me.
That's cute.
Which is cute. That is actually cute.
Such a cat thing, too.
It once made a sort of sling in the tree with a rope, wound it back and forth between branches, but obviously could not make a knot. It once made a big round nest on the ground out of 23 pine boughs, but it was, or boughs.
23?
Yeah. Huh. Pine boughs?
I say bough.
Bough. But it was in my dry creek bed, so I could not leave it there to block the drainage. One twilight, I was doing last-minute raking when something started tossing stuff at me from high up on a neighbor's tree. When the weather got cold, it came around the house more, neatly opened my and my neighbor's outdoor cushions, and took out all our stuffing. It was noisy moving.
Such typical cat
I know. It was noisy moving through brush, and other animals were afraid of it. Possums and raccoons pointedly avoided the section of the yard with her tree. My mother's dog visited, went back near the tree, and then came running back with her tail between her legs and tried frantically to get out of the yard, which is fenced. We had a week of severe cold and rain. It repeatedly came up onto my porch and even jiggled the doorknob, then would go out on the roof or under the deck. I was gone the last several days of that cold snap, and when it came back, I found some screens pulled apart and what looked like sort of a partial human handprint, but with shorter, thicker fingers. No one ever saw a sign of it after that, so we assumed it died in the cold and wet. It seemed to be child-sized, and the one time I was near it, it stank.
This reminds me of one of our listeners
Yeah.
told the story
Yes.
of the roof walker.
Yes. So this was the person believed that this was the Wampus cat, or one of the Wampus, the Wampi, whatever, you know.
I
don't know.
Wampi.
Wampi. So that is the Wampus cat.
Oh, it seems kind of friendly and cute.
Yeah, it does. Bringing those little treasures.
Yeah.
I think that's cute.
It's the equivalent of your cat leaving a dead mouse on your front doorstep.
Yeah.
Look what I did. It's because I love you.
Yep. Now we get to the number 1 Alabama cryptid/creature, and that is the Alabama white thang.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is what it's called, the white thang.
The white
Thang.
Wait, say that again?
Thang. Thang.
Fang.
Thang.
Like not thong, but thang.
Thang.
Okay, I thought you were saying fang with an F as in Fred.
No, not thang, not thong. No, not thing, not thing, not thong.
But thang.
Thang.
The white thang.
Look at that thang.
Okay, I got it. Back that thing up. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I smell what you're cooking now.
Exactly. The Alabama white thang is a Bigfoot-like creature that lives in the woods of Alabama.
Is it like a Bigfoot with a southern drawl?
Apparently.
Okay.
Sightings go back to the 1930s.
Ooh.
Most sightings occur in a geographic triangle in the north-central part of the state between the cities of Gadsden, Birmingham, and Huntsville.
We like our triangles on this show.
Yeah, we do. The creature is covered in white fur, stands around 7 feet tall, and is said to run on all fours. It will often climb trees and wait for people to walk underneath it before dropping down and scaring them off. Witnesses say they can't make out facial features of the monster due to its furry face.
Maybe it's some kind of albino.
Bigfoot.
Something.
That's basically what people think it is.
Or maybe even not even a Bigfoot, but some kind of albino. What else would
drop down from a tree?
I don't know. A cat? An albino wampus.
According to a 2017 article on Exemplar.com called, quote, A Different Shade of Bigfoot, the article says specific details of the white thang vary from witness to witness.
I just love the name. It makes me giggle.
Some of these witnesses claim to have not been able to make out any details of the creature. Others have claimed that it has no eyes or ears in addition to being completely white. Still others have said that it looks like a bear with the head of a lion, which is weird. One witness had even claimed that the white thing could shapeshift and that they saw it change from the size of a chicken to the size of a cow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yep. Peter J. Gossett, who runs a website on Winston County history, was told a story by his aunt, Brenda Martin Smith. He recounts her story saying, she said, quote, Old man George Norris seen it over there in Enon Graveyard, and he said it looked like a lion, bushy betwixt a dog and a lion. It was white and slick with long hair. It had a slick tail, down at the end of a tail, a big old bush of hair.
Like a lion.
George leant up against a tree one night and fell asleep. When he woke up, the sun was just rising and the white thing was just laying beside him looking at him. He says it didn't hurt him or anything.
He wanted to do a cuddle.
Yeah, he wanted to spoon.
Make spoons.
Wanted to make spoons. Could you imagine waking up and him turning, there's a albino Bigfoot thing just standing there staring at you?
No, I can't imagine that, actually.
Morning, beautiful. He said it didn't offer to hurt him or nothing.
It didn't offer to hurt him?
That's the exact quote.
I'd like to offer to hurt you.
That is the exact quote. According to an article on the Awesome Mysterious Universe site, quote, "It's not the beast's appearance or behavior that causes fright. People who've encountered the white thing say it's non-threatening. The monster's scream is what shatters people's spirits.
Oh.
The shriek, like a woman or baby crying, not only barks in the dark woods at night, but witnesses have also heard the sound coming from the hulking white-haired monster as it loomed over them and screeched directly into their face."
Well, that would be terrifying.
It's terrifying. So,
like waking up with that thing next to you and then it screams in your face.
Yeah.
I would die.
Yeah. An article by Madison Howard on the website smalltownmyths.com says, quote, "We have a personal connection to the creature. I grew up in central Alabama on the edge of the White Fang's geographic range. My great-grandmother talked about seeing a furry white creature that watched her hang up wet laundry on the clothesline from the woods. She described this encounter to my grandmother, who recounted it to me. My great-grandmother supposedly talked about this creature as if it were a deer or raccoon or any other animal. She was known as a serious, practical, no-nonsense woman who would never make up any far-fetched tales. It is not uncommon for the older generations to talk about the White Thing as if it were any other creature in the woods." And that is the Alabama White Thing.
He sounds adorable.
It sounds like a...
Maybe he's hanging out with the Wampus.
It could be. They're probably all buddies. Maybe even the Metal Man. No, Krista's not.
The Metal Man?
The Metal
the
Man.
Metal Man? No.
Krista's not buying the Metal Man. But that is like Alabama's big cryptid is the White Thing.
The White Thing.
The White Thing.
Couldn't come up with anything.
I like White Thing. I think that's a really cool name.
That's fun.
Time for some RC. Alabama style. So now transitioning from cryptid/creatures to paranormal stuff. In the middle of the two, we kind of have Huggin' Molly. Molly is said to be a 7-foot-tall apparition of a woman dressed in flowing black with a large brim hat. She is said to appear and roam the streets of, Abbeville, Alabama after dark. Legends say that she will chase down children, put her arms around them, and squeeze them tightly and then scream into their ear.
Oh my God.
Other than this, she is said to not have harmed anyone, although there are rumors of some children being squeezed to death.
Wow.
Legends say that Huggin' Molly is the ghost of a woman who lost her child and dealt with the sorrow of this loss by hugging other children.
To death.
To death. Well, some to death, apparently. There are also reports that some versions of Huggin' Molly were a professor at the former Southeast Alabama Agricultural School who was dressing up as the figure trying to keep students safe by scaring them off the streets at night.
So can I clarify? Is it hugging Molly or huggin'?
Huggin'.
Huggin' Molly.
Huggin'.
Okay.
Huggin'.
All right.
Huggin' Molly. So some people believe that this teacher was actually dressing up in order to get the kids off the streets at night.
Okay.
And there's a cafe in downtown Abbeville named, of course, Huggin' Molly's.
All right.
So that's Huggin' Molly.
Well played, teacher.
Yes, if that's what. There's a lot of dressing
7
up.
feet
There's
tall, though?
There's a lot of dressing up. There's the dude with the cow skull. There's the metal man.
Choco.
There's the metal man. There's the Huggin' Molly teacher. So very weird. Now we get to haunted locations / spooky locations. Location number, I don't know why I went up number-wise on the other ones, but I go down on this one. So I got to get my stuff together. So haunted location number 5.
That is funny.
It is funny. Haunted location number 5, Bill Skeeto's Hole. Wow.
I don't know why that's so...
I don't know either. You want to stay away from Bill Skeeto's Hole.
I got too much sugar.
You have had too much sugar.
Oh, okay.
I'm leaving that all in because your laugh is adorable.
My wheeze.
Your wheeze.
Sounds like a wheeze.
Number 5, Bill Skeeto's Hole.
Okay.
www.alabamahauntedhouses.com tells a story about this. On December 3rd, 1864, a Methodist minister named Bill Skeeto was crossing the was crossing the Choctawhatchee River.
That's pretty good.
When a group of men jumped him and told him that he was going to be lynched. Some accounts say that it was believed Skeeto had deserted from the Confederate Army to take care of his sick wife, and others say that he aided pro-Union men in the area. Nobody is really sure. The men grabbed him and dragged him down onto the road, beating him and forcing him to crawl through the sand. He was dragged to a post oak tree near the road, and a rope was strung up. The men asked him if he had any last words, and he said he did, and he asked if he could pray. Instead of praying for himself, he prayed that God would forgive his murderers.
Wow.
I know, give that guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I would have had
That's
some.
true faith
I would
right
have
there.
I would have had some words.
Right.
When it came time to hang him, the men had underestimated Skeeto's height, and the branch he was hung from bent down, allowing him to get his feet on the ground. Skeeto was moved to the side, and one of the men dug a hole roughly 30 inches wide and 8 inches deep, giving enough room for the execution to proceed, and Bill Skeeto was strangled to death.
Jesus. Oh, sorry. I swore.
Yeah, it's not swear. I don't know if it's Skeeto or Skeeto. I'm saying Skeeto.
I like Skeeto.
Skeeto. In the years following his execution, the entire lynching party died of unnatural causes, including one member who was killed after being struck on the head by the limb of a post oak tree. Even stranger, the hole that had been dug beneath Skeeto's feet remained unfilled for roughly 125 years because despite attempts to fill it back up with dirt, rock, and debris, the hole always mysteriously went back to its original dimensions. Nobody could figure out why the hole was constantly empty. Campers have even claimed to have pitched their tents right over the hole after filling it with dirt, only to find the hole empty again the following morning when they woke up and were sunk down in the hole. And why would you camp underneath there? I don't know.
That's so weird. Unless it's part of like a campground now. I don't know why you would do that.
Rumors have said that the ghost remained hung in the tree, and the ghost's body swaying at night kept the hole clear. There were several unverified reports of the area being haunted at night, with strange figures being seen moving among the trees and strange sounds coming from the area over the years. In 1990, the hole was finally buried underneath tons of rock for a new highway bridge, but a plaque at the location commemorates the strange story of Bill Skeeto's hole. So,
not as funny as I originally thought it was going to be.
No.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pictures online. Like I was looking at pictures of the plaque and where the bridge is now and stuff. But I read a lot of people's accounts that said, no, we went there. Some guy and his cousin went there, covered it up, and then they came back the next morning and it was completely empty again.
That's weird.
And some people theorize that it was maybe one of his friends that were keeping it empty.
Where'd they put all the dirt? You think
I don't know.
See the
but
dirt,
wouldn't you want that hole buried if you were one of his friends?
I would think so, yeah.
So it was a weird story. The Bill Skeeto's hole is a weird story.
Okay.
Now you feel bad for laughing so hard at it.
No, because it was funny at first. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Before I forget, by the time we get to the end of the podcast, think of a song that's like one of your favorite songs or something a song that means a lot to you that we haven't discussed on the podcast yet. And
hard.
We'll get to that
at
the end of the episode. Just remember that.
Okay.
We're so organized here at the Strange Sessions. Stuff pops in our head right in the middle of podcast. Haunted location / paranormal location number 4 is Harrison Cemetery. Harrison Cemetery's most famous resident is William Harrison, also known as Grancer. Grancer was born in 1789 and became a hugely successfully wealthy cotton planter. His passion in life was partying and dancing, and he built a large hall on his property where he could host giant weekly parties. At the parties, he would spend the night dancing around while wearing his favorite pair of custom-made clogs. As he grew older, he loved his clog dancing.
All right.
As he grew older, he decided that he wanted to be buried wearing his dancing clothes and clogs, and he wanted to be buried lying on his feather bed. An above-ground tomb was constructed by his slaves to accommodate the mattress, and upon his death, he was entombed in the grave just as he wanted to be. Over the decades since Grancer has died, passerbys near the cemetery say they can still hear a fiddle playing and the sound of someone dancing in clogs when they pass by the cemetery late at night. Some have also heard a strange, deep voice calling out square dance moves.
Okay. Calling out square dance moves, like turn your partner
round and round.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that sounds like a really delightful ghost.
it does. It sounds like he just
how can you be afraid of that?
He just wants to party. Dance in his clogs.
Do you wear clogs when you square dance?
I don't know. What are clogs? Are those like wooden shoes?
That's what I picture as like wooden shoes. That can't be comfortable or easy to dance
I always
in.
think of Crocs. I always get them confused with Crocs. Crocs
clogs
and clogs
look like Crocs, but they're made out of wood.
They can't be comfortable.
No.
Why would you dance in that?
Anyone would wear those.
Why would you dance in that?
I don't know.
Huh. Leslie Ann Tarabella's online journal says, quote, Catherine Tucker Wyndham's popular book, 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey, was great reading for most in the South who loved a good, scary story. I came across that book a lot in my research for this, 13 Alabama Ghosts and Jeffrey.
Okay.
So her journal, her online journal says that. But my family had a different take on the book since our great-granddaddy was one of the ghosts. That's right, I'm a direct descendant of William Granser Harrison, the ghost from Kinston, Alabama, who supposedly dances on his grave. A successful plantation owner, Granser, a common nickname for, quote, Grand Sir, or Grandpa back in the native South Carolina, loved to spend his cotton earnings on lavish parties. He built a pavilion for his friends and played the fiddle while wearing an expensive suit and shoes made specifically for nighttime southern soirees. It's nice to know the origin of my love of a good party and fancy shoes. After Granser died, instructions were carried out to bury him in his dancing clothes, close to the pavilion to be near the music. Over the years, the parties faded away, but locals claim when they passed by the Harrison Cemetery on moonlit nights, they could see and hear Granser dancing on his grave. If the story ended there, it could have been easily ignored, which is exactly what we'd always done, since we were raised to believe strongly in angels and demons, but not the ne'er-do-well haints. The big trouble came from a few of the local folks who insisted there was buried treasure in Great Granser's grave, and took to the commonplace redneck plan of using dynamite to blast the grave to smithereens.
Subtle.
It's very subtle. The family paid to have the bones gathered back together and the tomb repaired. That's horrible.
From like a square mile radius.
That's horrible.
Jeez.
And the tomb repaired, but the low-life scamps insist on returning every few years with shovels, sledgehammers, and other tools to break apart the above-ground burial site of Granser and the other family members surrounding him.
Jeez.
I wonder how old Bubba, who sits with his girlfriend dangling their legs off great-granddaddy's tomb, would feel if I went and knocked the plastic blossoms off his granny's grave. Not that I would ever be so common as to consider graveyard retaliation tactics, but I don't think he'd be too happy if he found Meemaw's mum scattered in the grass, much less found her petals blown to heck and back.
Meemaw. It's cute.
Granser's grave continues to be a popular hangout for the local South Alabama ghoul seekers on Halloween, but according to the next day's evidence of leftover empty beer cans, the only thing that haunts them these days is a down-home, non-imagined hangover caused by spirits of the cheap kind. Wyndham died in 2011, and I know several people who personally knew and adored the popular storyteller. I'm sure she intended no malice by turning real people's kin into haunted tourist locations, for she was only repeating the decades-old local folklore. But as my second cousin once removed said, quote, Granser may have lived with spirit, but in death he ain't no haint. And that's the true story of this frightening tale.
He ain't no haint.
Yeah. So she says there's no ghost. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But there's still people that...
There's an urban legend like that in like every town.
Yeah. There's still people that insist that they have heard him dancing and heard the turn your partner around and around.
I love it.
So haunted location number 3 is the Old Bryce Hospital. Bryce Hospital was built in the 1850s in Tuscaloosa, and it opened in 1861 as the Alabama State Hospital for the Insane. That's like a comic book name, you know, Alabama State Hospital for the Insane.
Yeah.
I guess that's how it was before Asylum.
That's what they called it. Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, it was later renamed for its first superintendent, Peter Bryce, who had first begun as a 27-year-old psychiatric pioneer from South Carolina. Bryce had been brought to the attention of the hospital trustees by Dix. He had studied mental health care in Europe and worked in psychiatric hospitals in New Jersey as well as his native state of South Carolina. His tenure was marked by absolute discipline among the staff of the hospital. He demanded that patients be given courtesy, kindness, and respect at all times.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually really...
Considering how it was
that's
everywhere
very
else.
forward thinking.
Yeah, extremely.
The use of shackles, straitjackets, and other restraints was highly discouraged and finally abandoned altogether in 1882.
Wow, for that time?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is seriously amazing. Various work programs and other activities were encouraged, including farming, sewing, maintenance, and crafts. Between 1872 and the early 1880s, some of the patients wrote and edited their own newspaper called The Meteor. These writings provide a rare look inside the life of a progressive mental institution in the late 19th century.
Oh, that would be so
interesting. I saw like online.
You can read some of the
articles. You can read some of the articles online.
You should post that on the stream.
I should. I got to see if I can find them again. But it was really interesting. At that time, Bryce's management and commitment to scientific treatments were recognized around the country as being in a class of its own, which totally it was, because that was
unheard of at that time.
By 1967, there were more than 5,000 patients residing in a facility that was never meant to hold half that many. So now is when you're running into people not caring what they do to the inmates.
And probably the original people are long gone, and that original mindset, or
According to the HauntingDarkness.com website, in 1970, one patient named Wyatt started a class action lawsuit against the Alabama's other mental hospital, Searcy State Hospital. This led to major changes in the way the mentally ill were treated in Alabama. The number of beds were cut drastically, and humane treatment of the mentally ill became an absolute necessity.
So where did they go with the people that they had,
I don't know. The landmark Wyatt versus Strickney case would change Bryce drastically. Old Bryce Hospital was the African-American portion of Bryce Hospital and was notorious for being even more cruel than its white counterpart. After Wyatt versus Strictly and desegregation, Old Bryce was shut down entirely and other buildings were used. The African-American patients were then integrated into the white population. And this place is supposedly super haunted, but any insane asylum,
right? The energy that must be left over at those places,
astounding. Yeah. So, there's the one place we go by.
Yeah.
Did you know that was an asylum?
I did.
When Corey did the podcast, him and I drove past that, and he
lets groups in. There's a guy who owns that and lives there. And
because I see people there when I drive past it. But Corey and I were like, "What is that?" So Corey got home and he researched and he's like, "Did you know that was the Sheboygan asylum?"
Well, and then it was like a correctional facility, and now it's just empty.
It reminds me of JFK Prep, the way it looks.
Yeah, it's old school for sure.
But people said lights have been seen flickering on and off in buildings that have no electricity. Furniture seems to move around on its own. Footsteps are heard in empty buildings. Telephones can be heard ringing in buildings that have no electricity or phone services. There are strange cold and hot spots in the buildings. Strange lights can be seen moving through the buildings at night. There's a constant feeling of being watched near the buildings. Screams can sometimes be heard from the buildings, and people have reported seeing the tail of a doctor's coat traveling through the hallways.
Oh, that's creepy.
It is creepy. So people swear that this place is super haunted, this Old Bryce Hospital.
I don't doubt it.
In 2010, the University of Alabama bought the property and began a $40 million restoration of the original 4-story main hospital building and 4 of the 6 original wings. It is part of a $121 million project that includes a new performing arts center on the property. According to University of Alabama planner Dan Wolf, the old hospital buildings will be used as a university welcome center, a museum of mental health, a museum of the university's history, event space, and classrooms for performing arts students.
A lot of times at these old asylums, the patients were just abandoned there by their families.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And when they died, they were just buried in unmarked graves on the property. Yep. So I can imagine
what's buried there.
Yeah.
The activity, like the
unrest.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just weird that it's going to be like a classroom for performing arts. It's good that they're using it for something, but that just sounds like the basis of a horror movie. Speaking of which, I haven't watched Poltergeist yet.
Oh, Kurt.
I know. I'm working on it.
If you can do it by Halloween.
That I can do.
Okay.
Spooky location number 2. And I really like this one. This is the Dead Children's Playground.
Dead Children's Playground.
Drost Park is a children's park in Huntsville, Alabama that sits hidden in the middle of the 100-acre Maple Hill Cemetery, earning it the nickname Dead Children's Playground. And it's cool. If you look at pictures of it, it is in this huge cemetery. It has like a hill that goes down, and there's like a kid's park.
That's so
in the
weird.
cemetery. And it's like really weird that it's there, but it kind of isn't. We had a Evergreen Cemetery in Manitowoc for the longest time had a park at the edge of the cemetery with slides, swings.
I guess
so I
if
guess
you
it's
think
now
about
weird.
it,
Yeah.
you don't. Maybe
No, if
you
you
don't
go
want
there,
your
if
kids.
you want, if you want to go there and see a relative that's there,
Right, or you're at
maybe,
a funeral
yeah.
and the burial, and kids don't necessarily need to see a coffin being lowered into
Yeah,
the ground. Maybe
no,
they can
exactly.
go do something more light.
Exactly.
I guess it's not that creepy.
No.
I like cemeteries.
I just think it's cool. I like the pictures of it. You know, Maple Hill. The sugar's starting to hit me. Maple Hill Cemetery, founded in 1822, is Alabama's oldest and largest cemetery. According to the website Atlas Obscura, which is another good website.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah. It seems like simple math that a sparse playground built on the grounds of a century-old cemetery would come to have a reputation more sinister than silly, but the planners put it in anyway. The small array of simple playground equipment, including swings and a modern jungle gym, is set in a low spot of the graveyard and surrounded by rocks and trees on three sides, making it all the more claustrophobic. In 2007, the cemetery was running out of room, so the city came in and tore down all of the playground equipment to make room for more burial land. There was a huge public outcry, and the city ended up putting the playground equipment back up and replacing the older equipment with newer stuff. Local legend says that a small skull was found near the site of the park sometime in the 1960s, and it was discovered that a serial child murderer was active in the area. It's said that after that, he would dump his victims' bodies in a field that's right next to the park, and that there were also multiple children buried close to the playground. It's said that the victims showed signs of being held over time since they were found malnourished, and some wounds had started to heal. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
But
That's really weird.
I couldn't really find any concrete. There's a lot of varying stories that some said he buried the kids alive where the park is, and there's some that said he dismembered them and threw the bodies in the field near the park. But I think these are all just legends. I don't think there's anything to the child serial killer thing. I couldn't find anything.
You'd have to find records of like a whole bunch of kids.
I couldn't find anything solid, but that's just what local legends say.
Yeah.
There's a ton of reported paranormal activity in this park. There are reports of hearing the sounds of children playing in the park when nobody is there. People hear the sound of children running through the park day and night, and they sometimes see dust being kicked up off the ground like someone is running there even though the park is empty. On nights when there is no wind, people report seeing the swings rocking back and forth like someone is sitting on them. Lights are also seen moving around the park at night. The most active times are said to be between 10 o'clock p.m. and 3 o'clock a.m. And
which is odd because what kids would be out at that, you know?
No, but paranormal groups do, they have to get permission to like do an investigation, and they say that they see stuff. They say they take pictures and see like hazy figures in the photos and stuff like that. But it's just like, is it just creepy because it's a park in the middle of a cemetery?
Right.
You know, I don't know. I would love to see this place. When I was looking at pictures of it, like I love cemeteries as it is.
I do too.
I love cemeteries.
But I'm also someone who's not inclined to think cemeteries are haunted.
No.
Most people don't.
If they believe that you haunt where you die, a lot of people don't die in a cemetery.
Nobody dies in a cemetery.
Unless you're having a heart attack when you visit
at
somebody.
a funeral. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
think cemeteries are peaceful.
Most people aren't attached to their body. They're attached to something else.
Yeah. I think cemeteries, like when
they
Aaron,
are beautiful.
When Aaron and I are
it's
geocaching.
Like a park with a bunch of headstones.
When Aaron and I are geocaching, we love caches and cemeteries. There was one, I don't remember if I talked about this on the podcast, but we went to this country cemetery in the middle of nowhere, and we love cemeteries, and it was like kind of a misty day, and as much as we love cemeteries, we got out of the car and we were both like, this is creepy. Like
nope.
we didn't like it.
Yeah.
So to get to where the geocache was, there was a fence, and the ground that the fence was on was kind of raised, so it was like the fence was almost on like a hill.
Okay.
And we had to open this latch on the gate, and because of the way it was slanting, when you open the latch, the door would just swing down because it was pulled by gravity because it was slanting down.
Yeah.
So we did that. We opened the gate. We went to where the cache was, and all of a sudden we heard clank. And we turned around, and it was closed. And there was nobody there. And Aaron is like, how did that thing swing up in order to close?
I'm picturing a, what is it called? The guy who's like in charge of keeping the the groundskeeper.
Yeah,
at
like the groundskeeper.
Like a man who did that his whole life. I could see someone like that being attached to that location.
Totally.
And like, oh, they didn't close the fence.
Yep. But it was just bizarre because we
That's
both heard the
weird. That's
clank and we
impossible.
turned around and it was latched. And
That's
it would have had
impossible.
to fight gravity and be physically pushed back up to close.
That's weird.
So yeah, that's my weird geocaching cemetery
I like it.
story.
Yeah, I like cemeteries too. From up north where my family is all from, the cemetery that most of my family is buried in is this beautiful cemetery that's like a hill and it has all these trees and
I think they're so peaceful.
If I didn't want to be cremated, I would want to be buried there.
We've come across so many neat cemeteries doing geocaching.
I love when you're driving out in the country and there's just like this little There are so many of them around here. Actually,
there are, and there's geocaches at all of these because Aaron and I have been to all these.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So that is
actually Jim and I went to Glenbeulah Cemetery.
Oh, really?
Just a few months ago, because we were going by a house that was for sale in that area. There's actually a house that's for sale, like just at the bottom of the road that goes up to the cemetery. We just drove through it. We didn't get out or anything, but
yeah, we got EVPs there at that cemetery. Glenbeulah Cemetery is crazy.
It's in the middle of the woods, and it is just. The woods drop down to these valleys all around it, and it's just gorgeous. But it has a draw to it. It's a really cool cemetery.
So that is Dead Children's Playground, smack dab in the middle of a cemetery.
Okay.
And finally, our number one haunted location in Alabama, which, if you're a ghost hunter, you have heard about it, is the Sloss Furnace.
Huh.
No?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Nothing.
The sugar crash might be happening right now.
Yeah, you look all of a sudden like super out of it.
Tired.
You look super out of it.
Well, maybe as you start talking, it'll ring a bell, but that name doesn't.
Sloss Furnace, it was well known from Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters.
Okay.
I've seen the episodes about it. According to TravelChannel.com website, in 1881 in Birmingham, Alabama, just 10 years after the city's founding, James Withers Sloss started construction on the Sloss furnaces. With the goal of turning coal and ore into pig iron and steel, the furnace opened in 1882. Hundreds of men from the surrounding area applied there despite it being an unusually dangerous job, and they were hired. It wasn't the best place to work. The temperature inside the plant would often reach above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. There weren't any government agencies regulating safety or anything there, and like other places at the time, you would get paid in script, which you could only use at the company store.
Oh, come on.
That was a popular thing back then, that you would get paid in the script, that you could only buy stuff from the company store.
Did they at least have groceries and things like that, I hope?
Yeah.
Well, still though.
Yeah, but still
you probably
you
charged an arm and a leg.
Yeah, exactly.
That's horrible.
Exactly, but that's how it was back then.
Wow. So not only do you have this crappy, dangerous job,
you got money that you could only use on the overpriced stuff in the company store. Yeah. As expected, there were tons of injuries and deaths there. 2 men cleaning the interior walls of the number 1 furnace were overcome by fumes and fell to their deaths. A scaffold collapse killed 2 men, and in the late 1800s, the body of a dead worker that was last seen leaving the bar the night before was discovered boiled to death in a water tank, and for some reason he had been carrying a pair of women's shoes. Okay. It's believed that the shoes were meant as a gift for his wife, but he was last seen leaving the bar, and the furnace was nowhere near the path from the bar to the man's home, which is weird. People think that maybe he was killed by a coworker.
Smiley face killer? Just kidding.
I don't think it was. I don't know.
Water involved.
We got to have an episode on that because Carly in Australia just is watching the documentary about the smiley face killers, and she's like fascinated by that.
Interesting. Just a second ago, I like smacked my microphone, so in case it's not haunted, it's not a ghost.
Nope, not a ghost today. Also,
by the way, I didn't really notice the kids much in the last episode. When I listened to it in the car, I could barely hear them.
No?
Yeah.
Good. I don't remember because I edited it a long time ago, so I don't really remember if I could hear the kids really well in it or not.
When you edited it?
When I edited it. Edited it. According to the Travel Channel website, perhaps the most ghastly death is one that befell a worker on his lunch break. Sitting near one of the large flywheels used to power the huge scalding boilers, he leaned in a little too close and the wheel caught his clothing, slowly dragging him into the gears. Witnesses at the time shuddered. Each time the wheel went around, there was a little less of their friend.
Oh my God.
That's horrible. That's a horrible description.
Oh my God. The noises.
I know.
No.
I know. They also say...
I hope he was killed instantly and didn't have to feel that.
I could not. We have, where I work, it's not anywhere near the same, but we have things that like you put your rings on and it vibrates to straighten them. And back in the day, girls would get their hair caught in them all the time, and it would start like pulling their head down. I mean, you wouldn't get like dragged. It was like a tiny machine, but you would have to have
safety measures in place now.
Yeah, you would have to have somebody would have to come and cut your hair because your head was like stuck and it was like yanking your hair.
Do you guys have lockout takeout?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Perhaps the most grisly death. We've already done that. A little less of their friend. Already did that. They also say on September 9th, 1887, Richard Jowers was working at furnace number 1. Standing near the top of the furnace, he slipped, and he and the heavy bell he had been preparing to melt tumbled into the molten steel below. There was nothing anyone could do to help, and they stood by helplessly as Jowers was incinerated. It's rumored that they were able to save his head and several bones before his remains were lost completely. That's horrible, too.
Oh, my God. This was in 1987?
1887.
Oh, 1887. Okay, I was going to say, wow.
Yep.
I feel like conditions should have improved by then, but...
Yep. And then there's slag. This came up a lot in the Ghost Adventures episode. Slag.
Okay.
According to the frightfurnace.com website, in the early 1900s, James Wormwood, nicknamed Slag, was the foreman of the graveyard shift, the period between sunset and sunrise, where a skeleton crew of nearly 150 workers toiled to keep the furnaces fed. To impress his supervisors, Wormwood would make his workers take dangerous risks, forcing them to speed up production. During his reign, it's said that 47 workers lost their lives, 10 times more than any other shift in the history of the furnace. Countless others lost their ability to work due to accidents, mishaps, and even a recorded explosion in the small boiling engine house in 1888 that left 6 workers burned blind.
That was supposed to impress people?
I guess.
Wow.
Needless to say, Slag was not very popular. He was described at best as a cruel man. In October of 1906, Slag was at the top of the highest blast furnace known as Big Alice when he slipped and fell into a pool of melted iron ore and was instantly incinerated. Slag wasn't known to have ever went to the top of the furnace before, so there's a lot of speculation that he was taken up there and murdered by his workers. In the years since his death, the ghost of Slag is said to haunt the furnace. Also, according to frightfurnace.com website, there have been many stories from past employees about being shoved from behind by invisible hands or hearing the sound of a man screaming, "Get back to work," when there should be no one there at all. Probably the most horrifying tale occurred in 1971 when the night before the plant closed, Samuel Blumenthal, the Sloss night watchman, who was nostalgically taking a last look around, found himself face to face with, quote, the most frightening thing he had ever seen. He described it simply as evil, a half-man, half-demon who tried to push him up the stairs. When Blumenthal refused, the creature began to beat on him with his fists. Upon examination by Dr. Jack Barlow, Blumenthal was found to be covered with intense burns from the punches.
Weird.
He died before ever returning to Sloss.
Burns?
Yeah.
That's strange.
In 1947, 3 supervisors are said to have turned up missing. They were found unconscious and locked in the small boiler room in the southeastern part of the plant. None of the 3 men could explain exactly what happened to them. All agreed that they were approached by a man whose skin appeared badly burned and who angrily shouted at them to get back to work.
Wow.
Yeah. There have been more than 100 reports of suspected paranormal activity at Sloss furnaces recorded in the Birmingham police records. So this place is supposed to be super haunted. Now, according to the Last Gasps Paranormal Group at lastgasp.com, quote, the story of Wormwood is fiction based on the death of a very popular and well-liked assistant foundryman Richard Jowers, who died at another company, not Sloss, on the other side of Birmingham on September 9th, 1887. Jowers allegedly fell into the furnace while supervising the repairs of the melting bell, a kind of funnel. The original Wormwood hauntings, as well as his death, are first recorded at Alice Furnace No. 1, but when it was decommissioned and destroyed in 1905, the legend somehow shifted to Alice No. 2 until its demolition in 1927, when the ghost apparently moved across town to Sloss after that. Most of the Wormwood legend is from the haunted house at the Sloss location. They have a haunted house now there.
Like a Halloween haunted house?
Yeah, like a Halloween haunted house.
Okay.
Additional confusion is linked to the 1978 book, The Ghost in the Sloss Furnaces by Catherine Tucker Wyndham, that uses the fictional name of Theophilus Calvin Jowers. And according to the Roadside America site, quote, the organization running Sloss like to emphasize the location's human side, the people who work there. But that approach has taken an unexpected turn with the rise of ghost tourism, which is only interested in the people who are dead. Thanks to the cable show Ghost Adventures, Sloss is now known for its haunting by an evil foreman, Slag, who reportedly worked his employees to death and was eventually pushed into the furnace. Unfortunately for those ghost fans who care about an apparition's credibility, Slag never existed. Sloss marketing officer Rachel Verschoor states, quote, "We get a lot of questions about Slag. Ghost Adventures came down and they talked to our Halloween Fright Furnace crew. They told them about Slag, a legend that they had made up, and I guess Ghost Adventures assumed it was true." So Ghost Adventures went on their show, talked about this Slag, never existed. It was made up by the group that runs the haunted house there.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, so basically...
Funny how something like that can be presented as true.
But Sloss Furnace is like always comes up on the most paranormal active places in the country.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yep. So I'm sure people have died there, obviously. So there's probably activity there, but the whole stuff with
Got
Slag,
blown out of proportion.
you know, Zach yelling for Slag to show himself, to punch him, you know, that was all just
show.
Bourgeois.
Classic Zach Baggins.
Yeah, so that was all, you know, and then that kind of perpetuated the whole thing about this Slag, that people who saw Ghost Adventures are like, no, this place was haunted by a foreman named Slag, and none of that is true. So, on that.
Wah, wah.
I mean, it probably is haunted. There's probably stuff that does happen there. I mean, there are a lot of accounts of people
feeling pushes
and hearing things, but as far as the majority of the stuff, especially the Slag stuff, not so much. And I don't know how I feel about like a place like that having haunted houses.
Yeah, that's like exploiting the sad history.
It's exploiting it, and it's also blurring the lines between genuine, you know, paranormal stuff and some dude in a mask jumping out of a closet at you with a chainsaw. You know, so I don't know.
It's sort of like JFK Prep having haunted houses.
Because JFK Prep did have haunted houses there.
That was a cool aerial photo that Rhonda posted on the Strangers.
JFK Prep. Yeah, once we do a Strange States, Wisconsin, we're going to talk about JFK Prep because we have to. So there you go. There's a couple cryptids/creatures and some strange locations from Alabama.
Fascinating.
From Sweet Home, Alabama. Hopefully we did it justice. You know.
Were these some of the things that Brad?
Yeah, that he had in this PDF.
Very cool.
So I really like doing the Strange State stuff because I like looking up all this stuff. It amazes me how many large cats turn up in the cryptid stuff.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect that when I started looking at this, but every one so far I think has had a big Wumpus cat type creature.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Downy booger.
Well, how many states have we done now?
3. We have done Ohio, we have done Missouri, and we've done Alabama.
Okay.
Now we need to move to the West Coast. We need to do a West Coast one.
Or somewhere in the Northeast.
Yeah.
When are we going to do Wisconsin?
I kind of figured that'll be one of our last shows we do will be Wisconsin.
Okay.
I know, not that I'm planning on us to be done, you know.
So we're never doing Wisconsin.
I figured we'll hold off on that one as far as possible.
If we do one episode or one state a season, that's a lot.
That's a lot of seasons. I was looking at something. I was looking at a picture of you from.
You were looking at a picture of me?
Yeah. Not like longingly, but you know what I mean. Like I was going through my. It's the one of you pointing that I love. That picture
the one
of you.
that you posted.
But then I looked at the date on there, and it's like, God, we've been doing this for a long time.
Was that from season 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
I think I used to sit over here.
Yes, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, when did she used to sit on that side of the table? Because that's weird.
Yeah,
but that was one of our first episodes, and I can't believe how long we've been doing this. And I'm glad we're still doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I look forward to this. Like,
I was like, look at how long my hair is.
I know.
I'm growing my hair
out
again.
Looking at all your different hairs. You know, you got
it changes a lot.
It does change a lot. I'm always with the same old baseball cap.
I chop it off once a year. My hair grows like a weed, so.
I always look the same. But
you have different glasses now, Kurt.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's it. I think that's all we got for Alabama.
It was interesting. I love the state episodes too.
So hopefully it was okay.
It was great.
And I also want to say that we have Corey came over to my apartment the other day to unhook my cable box and hook up my DVD player because I'm clueless with that stuff. And I pointed towards the closet, and he looked at that, and he was like, Seriously. And it was a stack of packages you guys have sent us.
That's so crazy.
So we have so much stuff from you guys. And I know you guys have sent a lot of taste test stuff. So I think after today's episode, we're going to start doubling up and we'll try 2 things per episode just to get through the stuff. I know we have a pickle beer coming. I know that's in there.
Because even though stuff is packaged, it does expire.
Does expire.
Like all that Japanese stuff that we can't try now because it's sat too long.
Yeah. So
we don't want that to happen.
After this one, we're going to start doubling up.
Okay.
So, but thank you guys so much for the packages. It just
amazing.
amazes me. Like, I wonder if people at the post office must look and like, what is the Strange Sessions? Like, they must wonder
right.
what the hell I'm doing.
Hey, if we get a new listener that way, that's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So instead of doing a listener question, it's kind of a listener question. It was sent to me, and this is what I asked you about. And I thought this was actually really cool. It is from our listener Shannon.
Okay.
I don't think she's ever. I'm assuming it's a she.
She a stranger?
I know.
I've known. I knew a Shannon in high school who was a guy.
I know. So do I. I'm friends with a Shannon. I just assumed that this was a girl. So hopefully it's not. Shannon writes, Hi, Krista. Longtime listener here. Absolutely love the Strange Sessions. I avoid social media, so I'm not on Facebook or Instagram or anything.
Totally get it.
Totally get it. Wish I was that brave.
I kind of wish I could do it too. But then there'd be no Facebook
I know.
page.
I know. So since I don't participate online, the way I get to know the both of you the best is through listening to you on your podcast and your music choices. So could you do me a huge favor? Whenever you guys have a bit of extra time at the end of the show, could you each mention a song that you really love and is personal to you? With the thongs. Oh boy. With the songs you two have mentioned in previous episodes, I have made a Strange Sessions playlist for myself, and I would love to keep adding to it. I think that's so cool.
So cool. I wish I knew what was on it because I can't remember all the songs I've ever talked about.
I'm sure Beastie Boys. I talked about that Motorcycle Drive-By by Third Eye Blind. That's one of my favorite songs.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah. She says, I have made a Strange Sessions playlist for myself, and I would love to keep adding to it. Thank you so much. Keep staying strange, Shannon.
That is the coolest.
It is. So that's why.
Well, hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
And thank you so much.
I think it's so
amazing.
cool that she's doing a playlist based
hard.
on songs that we like.
Because I can't keep track of what I have a song in mind, but I'm worried I've talked about it.
Just do it anyway.
So have I talked about Ramble On?
I don't
by Led Zeppelin.
No, I don't think you have.
I know you don't like Led Zeppelin.
Don't bring that up because it gives us bad reviews on iTunes.
We got a bad review about your opinion on Led Zeppelin. Okay, so Ramble On by Led Zeppelin is a song that gives me all the feels. And there's a couple reasons. A, if you've ever listened to the opening line is leaves are falling all around. And to me, that's like fall. So it just has, the song is about things ending and like moving on, and it has like this kind of like sentimental nostalgia. It makes me feel nostalgic for some reason. Well, for one specific reason, but just in general, I love the feel of it. I love the guitar. It's acoustic. There's just so many good things about it, but it's also about the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
he talks about Gollum at the evil wall and in the darkest depths of Mordor and stuff like that. And we just watched Lord of the Rings actually. But the real reason that this song sparked an interest in me is because I've talked about fish shows a lot. I used to go to a lot of fish shows. And the very first fish show I ever went to at Alpine Valley,
they did this?
1997, I think it was, they opened the show with a cover of Ramble On.
Oh, I bet you were happy.
Yeah. And so, but it's not only that, but every time that song comes on, it was my first fish show ever. I get the chills just thinking. And we were down in the pavilion, which the lawn is fun. But the pavilion is where all the energy is at. So to be there for my very first show and have them open with a song like that was just like, so my husband and I you can never pass that song up. You hear it, you stop, you listen, you reminisce. Like that song just gives us the feels every time we hear it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good song. Mine isn't anywhere near that sentimental or cool. So now I feel kind of bad, but it's one of the songs that I just love. And it's like a faster song.
Probably something I've never heard,
no,
right?
It's something you never heard. A lot of my songs that I like are generally slower songs, but this is a faster song. And it is a song by, maybe I have talked about this on here before, but it's a song by a Canadian group called The Weaker Thans.
Okay, I don't remember you mentioning it.
And the name of the song is Plea from a Cat Named Virtue. And
plea from?
Plea from a Cat Named Virtue.
Okay.
And basically the song is from the point of view of the singer's cat.
Okay.
Like telling him he shouldn't be moping around, like he eats less than the cat does, and all he does is sit and watch TV.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a pep
Cat's
talk.
like, get
it's
your
kind of like
together.
it's kind of like a pep talk from a cat. And I have always loved that
That's
song
pretty cool.
because I feel like that's
Narnia.
Narnia with things like, why are you just laying on the couch all day? So it's like a faster song called "Plea from a Cat Named Virtue."
Okay.
And it's Virtue.
Okay.
Which is like, I think, a Latin spelling or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's from the point of view of the singer's cat, and I love the song. I'll maybe post it in the Strangers.
Yeah, we should both post a link.
On the album after that, there's a song called Virtue the Cat Explains Her Departure.
Oh.
And only listen to that if you want to cry, because it's like such a sad song. I know Natalie, when I was dating Natalie, and from other people I've heard that they have listened to the song once, and they just can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's such a sad song.
Okay.
But my song is "Plea from a Cat Named Virtue" by the Weaker Thans.
I like it.
So I like that.
I'll have to check it out.
Making a
Definitely
playlist.
Post it. Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah. So I think that's
like
it for
that.
today. Pickle joke?
Pickle joke. Why doesn't a pickle like to travel?
Why?
Because it's a jarring experience.
It's actually
I actually kind of like that.
It's actually kind of
I
cute.
feel that way about travel myself.
Yep, that is actually kind of cute.
Should I do another one?
Sure.
Who is the all-time favorite? Did I do this last time? Who is the all-time favorite pickle gangster?
I don't know.
John Dillinger.
You didn't do that one last time.
But
I remember hearing that. Wow.
Good
All
stuff.
right. Contact information. Email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Strange Session without the S. Krista does a great job on Instagram at The Strange Sessions.
Is that in your notes that Krista does a great job?
No, I just always, because you do.
That?
You do. You actually do a really good job of stuff on
Only
there.
when we're recording or
I know.
posting.
You always
but-
tag me and stuff. I'm always excited to see when you tag me in something. You can send postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin 54221-0434. And you can call our hotline at 920-443-9602.
Have we gotten a voicemail lately? It's been a while.
We got that one from the stranger with the...
She had a cold.
Yeah, I felt so bad for her. But no, we haven't got one in a while. So I think that's it.
That's it. We're forgetting something, but
I know we're forgetting something.
we'll remember it next time. Maybe.
Yeah, we're not.
Maybe.
Then we'll forget something else next time. That's just how we roll here at the Strange Sessions.
Totally.
So from Krista and I, from the Old School Media Studio, until next time,
Stay strange. This has been an Old School Media production, executive produced by Kirk Konechny. For more information and content, please visit strangesessions.com. We probably don't need to record us eating the whole thing, but I'm totally eating the whole thing.
You want to take the rest home? Would Jim want them?
I'm sure he'd eat them.
What?
You don't want him in the house?
No.
You're still doing
I'm so bad.
I was going to ask you if you lost weight, actually.
Oh. Look at this picture of what I ate last week.
Your face looks skinnier for some reason.
I ate this entire...
Wow.
It is cheese curds and fries covered in gravy and nacho cheese sauce.
That sounds amazing, though.
I thought I was literally going to die on the drive home because I was so sick.
I'm sure your body was like, what the hell?
I'm trying to diet, and it's just hard. With stuff going on at work right now, I'm a stress eater. So, and it doesn't help that McDonald's filet of fishes are 2 for $5 now.
Give me back that filet of fish. Give me that fish. Remember that? Oh my God.
With the fish on the wall. I'm going to probably leave this in the episode. I was going to edit this out.
You should
but
put this at the end. Like
maybe.
after the music. If people keep listening, they'll catch all this.
I should start doing that. I should start putting like the funny stuff I edit
would.
out.
We used to do it on Paranormal Palaver.
Huh. Maybe I'll start that next episode.
All right. I finally ate the whole thing.